Welcome to Barbecue Today. I'm your host, Eric Riches, and today we're going to be talking about thermometers. Well, maybe you want to call them temperature monitoring systems. I have the Smoke X4 and the Fireboard 2. Both of these are new for 2020. Both of them have multiple channels, so you can monitor multiple temperatures at the same time, and the remote, so you can keep track of what's going on in your cooker without lifting the lid or, well, even stepping out onto your patio. There's an old adage in barbecue. It says, if you're looking, you're not cooking. Now today I've got my Big Green Egg XL all fired up, and I've got a brisket in here. It's already been cooking for a little while. Now, I want to keep this temperature real low. I'm a firm believer in low temperature cooking. I can adjust these vents. I can keep the temperature where I want it, and I can see from this dial what I'm cooking at. But how's the meat coming along? See, every time I lift the lid up, oxygen rushes in, the fire builds up, I get a drop, then I get a spike, and then I levels back out again. So that I can keep this closed through almost the entire cook, I need to be able to read the temperature of that meat inside. So I have probes running inside the cooker, and they will connect to one of these devices. So let's start with the Smoke X4. This is a new unit. It's a follow-up to the original Thermoworks Smoke. And now these have been very popular. They're a great unit, and people in the barbecue world really love these. It has a lot of advantages to it. It's simple to operate. It has 4 channels, so I can plug 4 probes in. Great thing about it is when you buy this, it comes with 4 probes. 1 ambient for measuring the cooking temperature inside your unit, and then 3 meat probes. So you could cook 3 different things and monitor all the temperatures independently. Now this is your kind of control unit. It stays here. You have this unit that you can take with you. Now, Thermoworks has been working on developing the range for these units. If I plug this in, put the probe in, and then drive straight away down a straight road with no obstructions, this will read it at nearly a mile. Now, of course, none of us are going to be cooking under those sort of circumstances, but this will still cut all the way through my entire house or let me wander around my entire property and still read. Now, these units are battery powered. Take this unit off here, there's 2 AA batteries in here, and there's 2 in here. You control it from here. It means you do all your programming on this unit. This unit is simply going to tell you what this unit's reading. So you can carry it around. It's got a nice little, there's a little rope you can clip through here if you want. Personally, I just kind of keep it by my desk if I'm doing stuff while I'm cooking. So let's set this up. There's some buttons on the back which would allow us to switch between Fahrenheit, centigrade, and adjust the volume. And then there's controls on the front. Now, like I said, 4 channels, 4 probes, and they line up, so you got an idea what you're looking at. I always put my ambient probe in number 1, just so I can remember which is which. And then I put my meat probes in the other ports. Now I've got my brisket set up with 2 probes from each unit. So there's a total of 4 probes sticking in my brisket. You don't necessarily need to measure your brisket in 2 different places, but you certainly can. Now, what this is telling me is that I have a cooking temperature of 209.5 degrees, and 1 meat probe is registering 88 and 1 is reading 93. Like I said, I put this on a little while ago. It's got a little kickstand here so you can set it up. It also has magnets on the back. So if you're using a metal cooker, you can just snap it on there. I mean, don't put it where it's going to get too hot because you'll melt it. It's rugged, it's durable, and it's weather resistant. So if it rains, that's not going to be a problem. So I can turn on this little unit, and it's going to take a minute, but then it's going to read the same. And now I can take this wherever I want. As long as I'm within the range, it's going to read well. And like I said, the range is quite long. There are alarms that I can set up here. So I can pick a channel, I'm going to pick my ambient channel, and I'm going to set my alarm on, and I'm going to set my cooker temperature. I want to say, let's go for a max temperature of 250 degrees. Okay. And a minimum temperature of, well, let's say 190. I don't want this going off too much, but I want to keep my cook in that range. I mean, ideally, I want to go for about 225 degrees. That's a great smoking temperature. Now, it will also tell me what my max temperatures have been. So I can keep track of that. What's been the maximum and what's been the minimum temperature during this session, in essence. And I can set an alarm for the meat temperatures as well. Say, I want to base at 165 degrees, I can set that, or I'm just going to go all the way through and I'm looking for a 195 before I start really figuring out how well my cook is going. This is a radio frequency device. It's not Wi-Fi, it's not Bluetooth. I can't connect to anything else. There's no smartphone app. That's kind of an advantage in many ways. It's very straightforward, it's very simple. This device is just going to connect to it. I don't need to worry about it. And as long as I'm not running around the neighborhood or heading out to the store, I don't have to worry about the temperature. Now, Fireboard, well, they've gone a rather more interesting route. This is a networked device. Now, the new Fireboard 2 has this much bigger screen. The old screen was not great, but you weren't looking at this part anyway. Now, I've already preset this, so it's now connected to my Wi-Fi. I'm going to put in my ambient probe in 1, and it's telling me in big letters 208.9. Now, the Smoke X over here is telling me 208.2. Those probes are pretty close together, but you know, like I said, 1/10 of degrees aren't that important. Now, I've tried to put these meat probes into pretty similar location. Now, this unit, which I tell you has longer probes, which is nice, has 6 ports. The standard unit is going to come with 3 probes. If you want 3 more, well, that's extra. Now, this is going to show me what my temperature is here. It's picking up all my channels, and I can go through and I can look at the charting on all that. So this gives me a display, and it's showing me the meat temperatures on all 3 of my probes. Alrighty, I've got a brisket reading at 107. I don't think that's put in the most ideal of location, but the other one, the channel 2, is giving me 85, where the corresponding probe over there is showing 92. That's not a difference in the technology. Both of these are very accurate in what they can do, but where your probe goes is important. With briskets, sometimes I like to have 2 probes, and I can kind of average out that temperature so I know where I'm going with it. So I'm gonna have to lift the lid. My cooker's still at the temperature I'm looking for, and I'm set to go. Now, like I said, this, you carry this unit around with you. This one, well, this is cloud-based. It's connected to my Wi-Fi, which means it doesn't need to be in range of my Wi-Fi. That's important. But I can then access that data anywhere. I could plug in a brisket, get it all set up, and I get in my car, and I could take off for the day and pull out my smartphone, and with the associated app, keep tabs on how my cook is going all day long. And more than that, it stores that data. I'll be able to look at this cook 2 years from now by logging into the system. Because, well, you can not only bring it up on your phone, but a tablet, laptop, PC, Mac, whatever. Any computer you've got, you'll always be able to access that information. And you can store every cook you've ever done, forever. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, this is the way to go. If you want the more simplistic approach, well, go for this one. The prices aren't all that different. Smoke X4 is about $200. Now there's a couple of versions of our Fireboard 2. This is the Fireboard 2 Drive. The basic unit, the Fireboard 2, runs for about $190. This one is about $250, but it has a feature that's really impressive. And that is, I can plug in a blower, put it on my cooker, and it won't just monitor the temperature, it'll control it. Now, you can buy a blower from Fireboard. It's about 60 bucks. But if you already have one, as long as it's a 12-volt blower and it runs on the 2.5 millimeter barrel type connector, it'll control it. So any blower you've got, you can use on this. If you've got a cooker that you can plug into a remote control system, well, you can run that too. So this has a lot more versatility to it. Like I said, you can be at the grocery store keeping tabs on your cook, where, well, you might have to make a phone call to find out how things are going on this one. But, you know, this is kind of there's a bit of an apple and orange comparison here. And the question is, do you really need to be able to monitor your temperature remotely? I mean, this is the serious geek device. It gives you all sorts of data. It will chart your cooks. So you can bring it up on your computer and you can look at the graph of the temperature. You can watch how it spiked. You can look for where the stall point was. You can monitor how that cooker works, how it responds. I mean, if you're really into hardcore barbecue and you really want that kind of data, then the Fireboard is the clear winner. If, on the other hand, your Wi-Fi is temperamental, you're not big on technology, Bluetooth and all that sort of stuff, Thermoworks is the better choice. So, both great products. I really like both of them, and I like both companies. They're good people, they build good products, and they stand behind what they make. So I'm gonna let my brisket finish off, and I'm gonna eat. You have a good day, and I will see you again soon. So hit the subscribe button down below, and I will see you shortly.